Hello student, this is the fifth part of the lesson agriculture class 10. Uh, Yesterday we started or we discussed food security. What is food security? Then which food products include in this food security? Why there is necessity to provide the security to the farmers. Then uh, FCI, role of FCI in this sense for providing the food security. And again we have discussed that BPL and APL becomes very difficult in the administrative level because it can be shifted from BPL to APL, or it may be from APL to BPL. So as food security we have seen. Then come to this 4.3 table, that is of food grain production. All figures they are in the million tons. Foods are given, cereals are given in the first column, that is rice, wheat, maize, coarse grain and pulses. Then their production in millions given in the chart table from 2011-12 to 2015 and 16. So here production of rice, first cereal is given rice. So production was 105.30 millions in the year 2011-12. Then that became 2012 and 30 105.24. Then 2013-14 106.54, and then after next year that was 105.48, and 2015 and 16 that became 104 and 32. Like this, given wheat, maize, coarse grain and pulses. And if we observe the total of this 2011 and 12 to 2015, that became in 2011-12 of whole grains, that is 281.04 million. It is about all food grain or cereals, rice, wheat, maize, coarse grain and pulses. Then 2012 and 13 that became 271.39 food production in millions, and after that 289.19, and then after that 2014-15 that became 276.19, and in last 2015-16 that became 274.04 million. So this is the in this table 4.2 India's food grain production. All figures they are in the million tons. Then one important reason is the land degradation. one important reason for the land degradation, free power to a section of farmers has encouraged them to pump groundwater to grow water intensive crops in low rainfall areas, that is rice in Punjab, sugarcane in Maharashtra. Means this reason given here for the land degradation, excessive use of pump groundwater to grow the water intensive crops, especially in low rainfall areas, Punjab, that is of the rice, and sugarcane of the Maharashtra. The unsustainable pumping has reduced water storage in aquifer. Means unsustainable pumping. What is the drawback of this pumping or irrigation? Reduce the water storage in aquifer. Aquifer means whatever store level is there below the ground or underground level of the water, that becomes or that reduce. Consequently, many wells and tube wells have run dry, and because of this, consequently or effect is there that many wells and tube wells which are in these areas, because of excessive use of this aquifer, they became wells and tube wells have run dry. This has pushed the marginal small farmers out of cultivation, because as you know, any type of cultivation there is requirement of what? Water. Without water we can't cultivate. So many marginal and small farmers, they are out of cultivation. They push out of cultivation, or cultivation is beyond their capacity because of the drying wells and tube wells. Level of aquifer or ground level, water ground level, it becomes it decreased. Then the big farmers with the deeper tube wells still have water. Means the farmers whose tube well is much deeper, so they have water, but many other face water crisis. Many other face what? Water crisis. Crisis means problems. Inadequate storage and marketing facilities. Two things are here. Inadequate storage means storage, it is not sufficient, and inadequate of the marketing facilities also act as a distinctive to the farmers. Thus, the farmers are badly affected by the uncertainties of production and the market. They suffer from the double disadvantage. These farmers, they suffer double disadvantage as they pay high prices of inputs. High prices of input means their investment in the agriculture is much high. For what? For the HYV seed, purchasing high yield variety of seeds, which is very costly. Then fertilizers. But lack of bargaining power, lack of bargaining power to fix prices in their favor. all the production reach the market. All production reach the market simultaneously. Simultaneously all the production that reaches to the market. Higher the supply, the lower is demand. It is the rule of economics. Where there is demand, high demand is there, then supply it becomes low. And if the supply is higher, then demands become less. So this causes distress sale also. And because of this, excessive production and demand becomes less. So because of this, distress sale also. Therefore, there can be no food security without the security of small farmers. Means thing is that first of all, there is need to give the food security to small farmers. Then and then only the concept of food security, it would be possible for whole of the country, because there is need to assure the small farmers security, because they utilized or the available inputs whatever required, and their prices it is not less. Capital investment is much more. Uncertainty is not there in small farmers, so there is need to provide the security first of all to these small farmers. Then and then we could achieve food security for whole of the country. So this is about the food security problems of the small farmers, then problems of the depth or water level or aquifer. Then next point, impact of the globalization on agriculture. Impact of the globalization on agriculture. So agriculture contributes lot of to the national economy. It has much significance for the national economy. Agricultural sector or primary sector. Then employment and output. It provides employment and livelihood to the 63% of population. Agriculture, it is primary activity which produces most of the food that we consume. All other sectors of the Indian economy heavily depend on the agricultural for their growth. So the impact of this globalization on agriculture. Globalization, it is not new phenomenon. It is not new concept or new phenomenon. It was there at the time of colonization. Even though before to that, this globalization was going on, but speedily or accelerated in the colonial period. In the 19th century, when European traders came to India, at that time too, Indian spices were exported. Indian spices were exported to different countries of the world, and farmers of the South India were encouraged to grow these crops. Till today, it is one of the important atom of the export from India. So, it is of the colonial period. means 19th century. Which traders that came? European traders that came in India, because these European people, they came here for trading purpose, not for rule over here. Then they taken benefit of this situation, and then they ruled over India. So when European traders came in India, at that time 2 Indian spices they were exported. Means before they coming to India, our spices, they were very familiar or renowned in the world. They were exported to the different countries of the world. And farmers of South India were encouraged to grow these crops, because maximum spices, they are cultivated in the south part of the India. Farmers, they are very prosperous, rich, because of this cultivation of spices. Till today, it is one of the important atom of export from India. Even though today it is one of the important atom, that is spices, for exporting from India. During the British period, cotton belt of India attracted the British, and ultimately cotton was exported to Britain as a raw material for the textile industry. And another crop, commercial crop or fibrous crop, that is the cotton, and it was exported to Britain for or as a form, in the form of raw material for feeding their textile industry. Because as you know, first of all, industrialization taken place in the Britain. So many industries, network of industries developed in the Britain, especially that was of the cotton. So here from India, this cotton that was exporting for exporting to the Britain in the form of raw material for feeding their industries. So cotton textile industry in Manchester, it is the city of the Manchester, it is city, just like metropolitan cities, or where there are many industries or industrial city, where cotton textile industries, they were in large numbers. And Liverpool flourished due to the availability of good quality of cotton. Then another place, that is Liverpool flourish means develop. Manchester and Liverpool, that develop. Why? Because due to the availability of good quality cotton from India, means in both these cities, Manchester and Liverpool, whatever industries, cotton industries were there, they were reaching Indian cotton as a raw material for the textiles, and that was quality cotton. You have read about the Champaranya movement, which started in India in 1970 in Bihar. Where it is? Champaranya is in Bihar. Movement was there, Champaranya movement, launched in 1970. This was started because farmers of the region, they were forced to grow the indigo on their land, because it was necessary for textile industries which were located in the Britain. Means Champaranya movement that started in 1917 in Bihar. So what was the reason? Because farmers in that village, they were forced. For what purpose? To forcefully cultivate the cotton in their industry. Generally, farmers gives priority for the cultivation, that is consumption. They want to fulfill their food need through their cultivation. And this cotton, it is commercial crop for sending the industry, not for the consumption purpose. But still, though they small farmers, they had very small patch of land for cultivation, and in that they had to forcefully cultivate cotton for sending their industries. And that is why farmers in the Champaranya revolted against the British, and that was very famous Champaranya movement for this purpose only. Then means here indigo on their land, they had to forced to grow the indigo on their land because it was necessary for the textile industries which were located in the Britain. They were unable to grow food grains to sustain their family. And drawback of this forcefully growing of indigo, they were unable to grow the food grain. For what purpose? To sustain their family or survival to their family. And here real problem arises with the small farmers. Under the globalization, particularly after 1990, farmers in India have been exposed to new challenge. Despite being of the important produce, despite being of the important producers of rice, cotton, rubber, tea, coffee, and jute, and spices, our agricultural products are not able to compete with the developed countries because of the highly subsidized agriculture in those countries. And in that period, it is about the under globalization, particularly after the 19 means it is the period of 1990 means independent India's 1990. What happened at that time? Farmers in India, they have been exposed new challenges. They had to face the new challenges because in this year, Government of India decided liberal policy. Liberal policy means our producer directly they have right for sending their production production directly in the world market. But for this, cultivation should be on the decent level, standard level for the competition in the world market. And real problem was there for the competition, and our producers are not able to compete with the developed countries because that developed countries has highly subsidies on the agriculture production or highly subsidies in the inputs. So here problem was that because of the highly subsidies agricultural in those countries, is those countries were easily compete with the world market. So they had provision or facilities for the subsidized agriculture, where our country has no such a provision. Today, Indian agriculture finds itself at the crossroad. To make the agriculture successful and profitable, for making agriculture, Indian agriculture, profitable and successful, what is the need? There is need of proper trust should be given to the improvement of the condition of marginal and small farmers. Green Revolution promised much, but today it's under the controversies. लेकिन आज जो है वो controversies है. It is being alleged that it has caused land degradation due to overuse of chemicals, then drying aquifers and vanish biodiversity. Means all these are the drawbacks of modern farming. This is big challenge, and one of important degradation, land degradation taken place. Why? Because overuse of the chemical fertilizers, pesticide, all this. Then excessive use of the water pump, irrigation, drying the aquifers, means whatever storage capacity or level is there, aquifer, that is going drier. Tube wells prove failure, and vanish biodiversity. Biodiversity means variety of plants and animal found in the forest, that is going vanishing, disappear. So the keyword today is gene revolution. आज का कीवर्ड क्या है? जीन रिवॉल्यूशन, विथ include the genetic engineering, and it is introduced by which engineering? Genetic engineering. So what is genetic engineering? Genetic engineering is recognized as a powerful supplement. It is recognized as a powerful supplement in inventing new hybrid varieties of seeds. In genetic engineering, it is possible to introduce hybrid variety of the seed for getting the more production, or that is called the gene revolution. Then, in fact, organic farming is much in vogue today because it is practiced without factory. Organic farming, it is practiced without factory made chemicals such as fertilizers and pesticides. Hence, it does not affect environment in the negative manner. This organic farming, it is good for protecting our ecosystem or environment. Does not affect environment in negative manner. A few economists think that Indian farmers have a bleak future, means prosperous future. It is the thing who is thinking economist. It is the thought of economist related to the Indian farmers. They have bleak future, means good future, prosperous, if they continue growing the food grain on holding that grow smaller and smaller as the population rises. India's rural population is about, as per 2011 census, it was 833 million, which depends upon 250 millions approximate hectare of the agricultural land, an average of less than the half of the hectare per person. So here Indian farmers should diversify. Indian farmers should diversify their cropping pattern, because land here it is limited, and within that limited land production should have to be increased, because it is the need of growing population. Here Indian farmers should diversify their cropping pattern from the cereal to high value crop. So there is need for the Indian farmers for diversifying their cropping pattern. From which crops? From cereal to high value crops. This will increase income and reduce the environmental degradation साइमल्टेनियसली, जिसके कारण इनकम इंक्रीज होगा और इन्वायरमेंटल डिग्रेडेशन, वट एवर प्रॉब्लम्स आर देयर रिलेटेड टू द environment degradation, soil degradation, that would be somewhat level, it would be stopped, because fruit, then medicinal plant, herbs, flowers, vegetables, biodiesel crop like jatropha and the jojoba, it needs much less irrigation. Such a plant needs very less irrigation than rice or sugarcane. So India's diverse climate that can be harnessed to grow wide range of high value crop, because variety of the climate which found in India, and this different or this can be that high value crops can be cultivated in this diverse climate. Then come to the last point, change in cropping pattern. For the example, from cereal to high value crop. Cereal means food grains, wheat, rice, pulses, to high value crops. That will means that India will have to import food. यदि ऐसा करते हैं तो इंडिया को फूड इंपोर्ट करना पड़ेगा. ड्यूरिंग 1960 दिस वुड हैव बीन सीन एज अ डिजास्टर. But if India imports cereal while exporting high value commodities, it will be following successful economies like Italy, Israel, and the Chile. Means value would be more of this high value commodities comparing to the cereal, and there would be need for importing cereal whose value would be less comparing to the imported exported high value commodities. This country export farm product, that is fruits, olive, then specialty seeds and the wine, and import cereal. Are we ready to take this risk? So this is the question of discussion. first of all, means are we ready to take the risk? But Government of India decided for providing the food security and accessible, affordable to the common people. So that would be reachable in a reasonable cost. If we import this production, their value or cost would be more. Then how would it be possible for us to assess the common people or for providing the security? It would be the question. So you also can discuss your points. So here we'll discuss some important key words related to this lesson. Keywords related to this lesson, they are commercial farming, means farming in which farmers grow the crop with sole aim of selling the produce for commercial purpose. Then we have seen primitive subsistence farming, or that was also called the slash and burn agriculture. It is one type of the farming. Farmers clear the patch of land and produce cereal and other food crops to sustain their family. And when the fertility decreases, the farmers shift and clear fresh patch of land for the cultivation. Then intensive substances farming. It is the farming in which high amount of biochemical inputs and irrigation are used. Then plantation farming. In this type, the farming is single crop is grown on the large scale. Then sericulture, it is rearing of silkworm for the production of silk, that is called the sericulture. Then horticulture. Horticulture means intensive cultivation of vegetable, fruits and the flowers, that is called the horticulture. And then zooming or zoom farming, that is burning the piece of land for the cultivation by the forest tribes. Then green revolution, technologies that were introduced to increase the agriculture production, such as HIV seeds, fertilizers, modern machinery and inputs. Then last term, that is white revolution, operation flood, technology that was introduced to increase the milk production. So all these terms we have seen, this is